You're listening to Women's Dream Enlightenment. Dream decoding, deep discussions, and spiritual stories of self-discovery to inspire your personal enlightened journey. I'm your host, Megan Mary, founder of Women's Dream Analysis. Let's bring in the light. Welcome. Today we have Amy Robeson, Akashic Record Master Teacher Healer and founder of Sacred Awakening. She empowers individuals through her powerful Akashic Records program to tap into their inner potential for transformation by cultivating curiosity to live their best lives. Amy speaks light codes and light language, plus she shows you how to be courageous enough to walk your divine path. Welcome, Amy.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you here. And there's so many things that we're going to talk about today. I'm really excited for our conversation.
Me too.
So I'm going to ask you the first question that I ask everybody, and that is, what does enlightenment mean to you?
Ooh, that's a good question. So enlightenment means to me is to enter into light. So you're embarking on this journey of embracing all the dark parts of yourself and healing them throughout your lifetime. So it's like you're bringing yourself into light because we're both equally light and dark.
Yes, and that's true. It's important to not discard the darkness. A lot of people think, oh, we need to dispel the darkness. We need to get rid of our shadow, but we really have to embrace them both. We have to integrate them into that wholeness rather than discarding or trying to push away that darkness. So I think that's important.
Yeah, I agree. It's this radical honesty with ourselves. And when it comes to enlightenment, too, it's a self discovery journey. Like when you are discovering something new about yourself, either good, bad, or neutral, it allows you to have an understanding of where your frequency is vibrating at. And do you want to vibrate at that frequency or do you want something different?
Yes. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit with the listeners about your journey and how you came to discover all of these things that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about light language and Akashic Records and spirit guides and crystalline energy and all these amazing things. But how did you discover all of this yourself?
It was because I was in a dark place. So I was in a place where I didn't want to be here anymore. And I started receiving intuitive downloads. At the time, I didn't have that languaging. And I just kept hearing go to hot yoga. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. But I looked it up finally one day and there was a brand new Bikram studio down the road from my house. And I was like, okay, I'll go check this out. And when I went, it was like the first time in a very long time that I just felt happy and at peace and in my body. And I didn't feel like I was disassociating. And that one step led me to the next step, led me to the next step, led me to the next step. And I'm a big believer, just follow the energy that your heart is guiding you to say yes to, and you will be taken down paths you never imagined that you would be taken down that is for the better of your soul. And so from that place, I started having this desire to learn how to meditate. And I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I moved to Charleston, South Carolina to be with my now husband. And when I moved there, yoga got taken away from me because I got injured. I cracked my tailbone for the second time in my life. And so I was in constant chronic pain and I was depressed. I was homesick. I didn't have my usual schedule. I was going through an identity crisis. I was definitely going through a dark night of the soul. And I didn't know what to do. And so I sat down and I was like, what are the things that I've been wanting to do that I've been putting off? And that was to learn how to meditate and to do dream interpretation. And I know you're really into dreams as well. And because at the time I was having nightmares for years and years of people killing me. And so I wanted to understand what my dreams meant because I've had prophecy dreams since I was a little kid. And so I wanted to have a better understanding of that landscape and what my subconscious was trying to tell me or where I was at in my dreams. And so I found my first teacher, and my first teacher had channeling abilities like Edgar Casey. She was a trance medium and she would do these life soul readings. And at the end of that reading, I was telling her that how I wanted to learn how to meditate and how I wanted to learn how to do dream interpretation. It was literally everything she taught. She taught people how to do these things. And so that led me down this path of discovering healing abilities and the Akashic Records. And it just one thing would lead into the other, lead into the other. And now I'm here talking to you. It's just insane. Like, it's insane what one decision can make on your entire life.
Yeah, I love that journey. I've also injured my tailbone, so I know how horrible that can be. And yes, and I used to do Bikram yoga a lot, a long time ago. So I also know how freeing that can be. So yes, and meditation actually was one of the doorways that got me into my whole spiritual remembering as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it really was what was called for at the time that seemed to quiet my mind enough to let that information start coming through, like you said, those downloads and the directives, because there were a lot of directives and they were pretty emphatic. Like, you have to do this and you have to do it now and you better hurry. That was really how mine
Pushing you out
started.
the door.
Yeah, it was just, it was like, it wasn't like you have a choice and it wasn't like when you're ready. It was like, oh no, go, 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 go.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. For me, meditation healed my chronic pain. I was able to get off pain pills within a month and a half, because it was so long ago. I don't remember the exact amount of time, but within a month and a half, I was no longer limping. I limped for over a year. I was in chronic pain for over a year because it was the second time I cracked my tailbone. It wasn't the first time, it was the second time. So, and when you're in pain, you get just sucked into the tornado of pain and it consumes you when you don't have an outlet for it.
Yes, absolutely. It's so distracting. It's all your brain can focus on. And
Yeah.
you can't think of anything else but that pain. I also have had chronic pain and I know exactly what that's like. I've had some guests on that have talked about overcoming chronic pain with meditation, and it's very powerful, the power of the mind. And people don't necessarily give it enough credence, I think, particularly in the medical field, because they throw medications at it. And yes, sometimes you need those in the short term, but at least in my journey, you find out in the long term that you actually have to really bring your mind into that healing scenario, that you can't just address what's going on in the body without addressing what's going on in the mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And the the thing about pain is most pain is emotional pain. You are experiencing it physically, but when you work on the emotional components of it, you can untangle some of the mess with it as well. And then there is physical pain. So we're not like discounting physical pain, because if you break your ankle, you crack your tailbone, you fracture something, you go through a medical procedure, there is real pain, physical pain there. But there's emotional components as well. Just like I had a friend that had a hysterectomy, but she was still having pains down there. I'm like, you got to work on the emotional component of it. Because if you don't, you're going to have those phantom pains still there that is causing you, your body's signaling, your soul is signaling there's something here that's been buried in the past that's time for you to take a look at.
Yes. And that's how dreams work too, isn't it? They signal to you, hey, there's something buried here that we need to uncover, that we need to bring to the fore, and that you might not be at top of mind. It might not be something you think even consciously know, are aware of.
Yeah,
But once you start to decode that language and you start to understand the messages that it's sending you, you realize, oh, yeah, okay, I do need to do something about that.
yeah, definitely.
So, talk a little bit about activating our DNA.
So we have trillions and trillions and trillions of cells in our body. And when our consciousness fell, there were some dark forces that place certain seals upon us to make us forget, to not allow us to connect to our unconditional love, to access our dream states to their fullest capacity, to feel that we might be punished for our sins. This is called like the wrath of God or God guilt. And there's many things that were placed upon our DNA, and we have the ability to activate our DNA and restructure our DNA. We have, I believe, over 13 trillion cells in our body. Majority of those have DNA strands. And don't quote me on the exact number because I can't remember and I haven't looked it up in a while, but we have trillions. And with that, we take our lifetime to activate our DNA. And so we can activate our DNA through spiritual practices, through experiences, through meditation. And we can also go in and purposely activate the DNA. And this is where I come in and I do it inside of the Akashic Records. We activate a certain amount of strands of DNA. And within that particular activation, because we don't want to activate all of our strands all at once. One, we wouldn't be able to handle the frequency or the energy. We would have a massive identity crisis. And it's just not good. But we can go in and we can activate a certain amount. And depending on what DNA is activated at that time will depend on what experience you get to have with that activation round. Where the last activation round I did, like I had a massive, massive shift in my light language and my channeling with the light language and my understanding of the light language. And then there's times where you're accessing new gifts, or there's times where you're letting go of old patterns or beliefs, or it could be working on some sort of health issue, a dis-ease within your body. And so it just depends on you and what's being activated and what serves the highest good at that moment in time. It meets you where you're at in that particular time. And so it's really neat because I've had students that are like, I'm downloading this new knowledge that's very esoteric that no one's taught me, and I'm looking it up and it's like very on point with other concepts. And so it's really neat when it happens because I never know what's going to happen for each student because I'm not picking what's going to happen. It's their soul that's picking what's going to happen and what serves the highest good at that time. And we want to work on our DNA throughout our lifetime.
That's so interesting. And how does that tie in with activating the crystalline energy?
There's like a through line for me in all of my work. I use crystalline energy and DNA activations. I use it in all my healings and meditations and downloads. And I teach the Akashic Records how to open your Akashic Records using crystalline energy. And so crystalline energy, light language, and the Akashic Records are my three through lines for everything. Those are three tools that I'm constantly utilizing. And we're carbon-based beings. We're moving to a crystalline being. And so with that, we want to work with the crystalline energy to assist in shifting our frequency and up leveling our frequency. We have tons and tons and tons of crystalline energy within the earth. And just like if you go to Arkansas, it's in the riverbeds, it's in the water, and we can access that. And they want to support us, they want to connect with us, and they want to assist us in, and I'm going to use this blanket term like XYZ. Depending on what it is you're working on, there's a crystalline energy that can support that. So if you're wanting to get better sleep, or you're wanting to amplify your intuition, or if you're wanting to get more heart centered, or if you're wanting to heal your emotional body, or if you're wanting to balance your root chakra, there is a crystalline energy that can support you in bringing that into balance or support you in coming into that frequency. Because at the end of the day, we're all frequency.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why sound frequency is so powerful, because
Yeah,
it helps
absolutely.
there's so many ways to help raise our vibration. I think a lot of these healing modalities really just work in that method, that they really help us to move out the old energy, bring in that new energy, and keep us vibrating at that higher level that allows us to tap into that spiritual intelligence, allows us to connect with that greater source that has all that information for us, that we have been separated from, detached from, or we just kind of decided not to listen to anymore.
Yeah. And the cool part is you get to choose your path. If there's a tool that doesn't resonate with you, then don't utilize that tool. That tool is not the end all be all tool. It's what tools work for you and what do you really connect with? Because just like with meditation, that's a generic form of saying to go within, right? But there's
Yes,
different types of meditation, and not every
absolutely.
type you're going to resonate with. The main thing is to utilize that tool in a way that resonates with you. And for me, these are the tools that I really enjoy that have really changed my life. And I've seen other people's life get changed by that. But it's not a tool for every single person. And like just where you were talking about sound healing, like light language is one form of sound healing because you're making sounds, and every sound or tone holds paragraphs of information that your higher self completely understands, even if your mind doesn't understand what it means, but your higher self completely understands how to utilize that cosmic language of your soul to support you in healing. And not everyone's light language is for you as well. So it's like you got to be really, you have to use a lot of discernment to understand, does that align with my path in this moment in time? Because not everything that everybody shares, and it can be good, bad, or neutral. Not everything that everybody's sharing at any given time is in alignment with you. They could be offering something so awesome that's so high vibe, but it's not in alignment with the frequency in which you are moving into. And it could really distort up some things. And so, this is the spiritual practice of discernment is so important on our path because you have to understand that you are solely responsible for your enlightened path. You are solely responsible for your awakening. And when you understand, like, oh, that person's offering this, will this help me full time? If it does, and it's in alignment, perfect. If it doesn't, or it didn't work for you, ask why. And there has to be some form of accountability on your own end on why it didn't work. And if the teacher showed up and did everything they were supposed to do that they promised, if it didn't work, why? Why didn't it work? And or if it did, why did it work? Because what did you do to allow it to work? Because a healer, and I consider myself a healer, I'm not healing anybody. I'm showing up with a particular frequency for my clients to meet. And they are the ones that open the door to allow that frequency to meet them where they're at so they can raise their frequency. They are the ones that are healing themselves. And they are their own guru. They are their own answer to in which they are seeking whatever it is that they are seeking freedom from, or enlightenment, or healing, or whatever it may be.
I agree with that 100%, especially with the dream work that I do. It's not something that you really can sell per se. It's something that someone has to find and be drawn to you because of your vibration and know that you have a way that you can help them help themselves. Because the way that I work with it, I don't put it on a person. I don't say, well, this is what it is. I help them draw out the meaning for themselves. Someone called me a midwife of dreams, and that's kind of how I look at it, that I'm just the guide, I'm just the assistant, and that they're really the ones doing the work. They're the ones finding me, they're the ones being willing to do that work.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you also brought up the light language because that is something I really want to talk about today. You're the first guest that I've had on that is really focusing on that. And I also like what you said about not all of it being right for everyone, because when I first discovered it, of course, it was faded. And what I heard just shot up my chakras. Just all of a sudden, I was like, whoa. And I was like, this is so powerful. This is so amazing. And then when I went to listen to a few others, I was like, okay, that's not the same.
Mhm.
And
And
I wouldn't have known that at the first experience. I would have thought, "Oh, it's all like this."
no, and so light language assists with bringing someone out of a trance. We are in many different trances in our life. And what it does is it speaks higher self to higher self. It's a cosmic language of your soul. And what the channeler is doing, the light language person is doing, either they're speaking it, signing it, or moving with, or writing with it. And so, with these different forms of light language, we're tuning into a particular radio station that where we're channeling information from. Not every radio station for this channel is of light. And so, and some people knowingly or unknowingly are channeling something that they shouldn't be channeling. Or you have someone that's channeling this high vibrational light, but it is not a frequency match for your soul's evolution at that particular moment in time. It might be at some point in your journey, or it might not be. And so everybody's frequency is matched. And what your higher self and your physical body experiences, because it's also really important to understand that your physical body has to hold frequency. And if your physical body is not in a place to hold it, or it's just a complete frequency mismatch, because you might have this super high vibrational frequency, you're listening to someone that's channeling, it might not be darkness, but it's a lower vibrational frequency than what you are vibrating at, it's going to be a mismatch. And so it's really important to use discernment when it comes to connecting with someone that is speaking light language. And my guides, they told me I was going to start speaking it publicly. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. And they're like, no, it's really in alignment with your path and get comfortable with it. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Please don't. Like, I don't. I was really resistant because it's super weird. Like, I'm the first one to admit it, and I sneak it. It's very, very, very weird. But it's fun. It's so much fun. And once I started doing it, I was like, okay, I understand it. And then I remembered, oh, I used to do this when I was a kid. I used to speak light language when I was a kid. My sister and I would have this our own language that we would speak to each other in, and we knew exactly what we meant. And once I started speaking, I was like, oh, I remember now. Okay. Totally remember now. And so I have been speaking light language, I think, since like 2000 as an adult, since 2018. And it's like, again, I still think it's weird. And it's funny because anybody that I've worked with, they're like, we can't get enough of it. Like, it's just something that just changes what is being channeled, because there aren't human words that we can put into articulation that wants to be shared, because it's a frequency that's being shared. And we can describe the essence of it, but still we cannot put it into human words, what is fully being shared. And I think it's just really neat, like super, super neat.
Yes, it's like trying to describe to someone that can't hear what a song sounds like. It's very difficult to put into words
Mhm.
something auditory. And I know myself when mine was activated, it really came in the form of song, but it was almost like it was self-soothing is the best way I can describe it,
Mhm.
because when you hear others that are on your frequency speak it, it's incredibly soothing. It just takes you immediately to this other level and you get lost in it and it's like being held. I don't know. I can't describe how it feels to me, but for myself, it felt like I was doing that for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
some people, it's like one of my friends, he described it the best to me. I was doing a healing, and He's like, I was dozing off, and the second you started speaking, it was like my higher self is like, hey, listen, pay attention. This is important. And so it snaps me into this new reality of
Mm.
wanting to receive. And so to me, it's really fascinating. And the more that I utilize the tool and the more that I have more open discussions about it, the deeper my practice goes and my deeper the understanding goes as well. But to me, it's like, it's such a weird thing, but it's our birthright to speak it. It's our birthright to perform it. And some people are more comfortable drawing, some people are more comfortable moving with it, and some people are comfortable speaking with it. So it just depends on the student of the practice and what they're drawn to. And with my light language magic students, it's always fun every round because some of them are like, yeah, I really like doing the movement, but I'm really scared to do the sound. And so we go back and forth on what we're doing and how we're doing it because all of the forms are important because sometimes people need to move with it to get really in their body. While others, they might not be used to speaking up. So speaking, it's really powerful to have that to assist you in speaking your truth and honoring your truth. And then well written takes you into this really deep vortex of knowledge with it. And so everybody has a different form of what they're gravitate towards. And
Mhm.
some sing it, some sound like a foreign language, and some it's toning.
Right. And what would you suggest in terms of discerning whether it's for you or not? For me, I would just say you'll know immediately because it's kind of like if you get in the car and there's a song blasting and you don't want to hear it, it's not on your vibe, quote unquote, and you know right away. But are there other levels to that?
So it depends on how people receive. So to me, Megan, it sounds like you have very strong claircognizance, which is a clear knowing. And so someone might have a feeling where it's like a gut feeling of like, oh no, I don't like that. Or it might be a feeling of like expansion, while another person might hear a yes or a no or feel a yes or a no in their body, or it might have a particular taste or smell to it, or you might see a sign that it's a yes or a no for you. And so it's really understanding how you receive information through your intuition. If you ever got that gut feeling and then you're like, I shouldn't have done that after you did it, even though you got the gut feeling beforehand, that right there gives you an idea of like, oh, that's kind of how I receive. And I should have listened to my intuition at that moment in time. And so it's important to not glamorize intuition, but utilize intuition in a way that allows you to fully understand how you're receiving. And that's where doing things in meditation or doing with the Akashic Records or anything that allows you to really utilize your intuition so you understand how you receive is helpful.
Yes, I was just having a conversation online yesterday with another woman that she had gone into a bookstore and she had touched a particular book and started getting a ringing in her ear and she was wondering if she was receiving some information and I was like, "Yeah, you are." Cuz that's definitely I mean, I have so many of the clairs, but that's another one. It's clairaudience for sure. And everyone has all of them, but everyone starts out with certain ones being stronger.
One
So
that's
it's
more, yeah, one's just
yeah.
stronger. And if you're an empath, typically you have a very clear knowing. Like that's the strongest clair. I feel like you identify
Mm.
as an empath, like that's usually typically the strongest clair.
In so many ways, that dream state for me comprises all of those clairsenses because
Mhm.
I have this space where that I call the middle world, and I get middle messages, and they're basically when I'm going from that dream state to that waking state, and like to hang out in there as much as possible. And I know there's famous inventors that used to actually try to induce that state over and over again so that they could
So
stay in that state.
yeah, that's cool. Would you consider that like lucid dreaming then? If you're in the
No,
middle
it's because it's
realm?
not actually dreaming. It's transitioning from theta to beta, so it's
Okay.
this weird half-half
I got
where
what you
you're
mean. I know exactly
Yeah,
what you're
where
talking about.
I'm not actually controlling it, I'm receiving.
But you're
And
aware that you're there to some
right.
degree.
But you don't have all the faculties of judgment ready. So
Mhm.
what you're receiving, if you're trying to analyze whether you're going to write it down or not, which is what I do a lot. I'll say, "Oh, well, it's just this. I don't need to write it down." And then as soon as I wake up, I go, "Wait a minute. What was that? Oh, I should have written it down." Because it's very much then once you have all your faculties, and then you go, "Oh, okay, that was something major." And so that's
Oh,
why
yeah.
I constantly writing down everything I receive, whether it makes sense to me at the moment or not, because it's really that space is where I get the most information, it seems.
Mhm.
But I would love it if you would be willing to, if you would like to communicate a light language message to the audience in closing today. I'm sure that they would really enjoy that.
Yeah, so we can do like a little mini healing transmission because the way that I use it is just within healings.
Hmm.
So, is there something you are working on right now that you would like support with?
Yes. Well, my debut novel is about to come out. So it's definitely something that I'm working on and just really charging out into the world and bringing everyone that needs to receive it in.
Okay, perfect. So, we'll do something with the fear of the unknown. So, just letting go of the fear of the unknown. So, we'll just kind of make that the first thing I heard when you said that with your book coming out, which I'm really excited for your book to come out.
Awesome.
Okay, so please do not drive or operate heavy machinery. I know that sometimes people take that as a joke, but it's a very serious comment because some people do fall into a deep trance while
Mm.
these transmissions. And so don't drive. You can come back to this later or operate heavy machinery. And wherever you are in a safe place, you can go ahead and close your eyes, bring your awareness into your heart space and just receive a breath, taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, cleansing breath out through the mouth, giving yourself permission to ground down into Mother Earth. Another nice deep breath in, cleansing breath out, allowing your grounding cord to root into Gaia, Mother Earth's heart chakra. So your grounding cord is going to go to the core of the earth, which is a crystalline ball of energy. You're just going to plug into Mother Earth's heart chakra. You're going to receive a breath, pulling her energy up into you, allowing her to love on you, hold you, and cradle you. And then you're going to feel the crown of your head stretch up towards the great central sun. Then you'll take an inhale, and on the exhale, you'll feel the great I am, creation, God, universe, whatever sacred title you give that being, just wrap its arms around you and hold you. And then I want you to sense, feel, see, or imagine that in the center of your heart space where you sit, there's this beautiful green emerald energy that's surrounding you. And as it surrounds you, it lifts you up out of your heart space and brings you across all space and time where you land in a beautiful place in nature. It is the perfect time of day and the perfect temperature. You're going to notice that there is a bonfire nearby and a body of water. You're going to wake your way over to the bonfire first. And as you stand before the bonfire, you'll notice, sense, feel, see, or imagine that there's a beautiful violet flame. And then it's the yellows and the orange and the reds within the flame as well. And as you're staring at this flame, you're being invited to let go of any fear, any habits or patterns or beliefs that are no longer serving you from a place of continuity with your aligned path. And so what that means is you're letting go of fear of the unknown. So whatever's holding you back from stepping onto your aligned path, we're going to let that go. And so you're going to step into the flame. And as you step into the flame, the violet flame, the oranges, the reds are going to engulf you. You are safe. You are safe. You are safe. And you're just going to dance within this sacred flame. And as you're dancing, you're going to start releasing, and the flame and this beautiful element is going to pull and transform anything that's no longer serving you. Torasi, troma, 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 saramutra petrisi, truputra maha. Saramutrihi, trasi, trupumatrehi, trasaramutraha. Suramutraha. And I want you to really stomp your feet into the flames. And as you stomp your feet into the flames, there's going to be like this energy, and it could be like sludge or oil or dense energy, or even flakes that are just like falling off of your body and being. And what's being extracted are these fears of the unknown, these beliefs, these patternings that may be from your soul lineage or your ancestral lineage. It's being cleared across all space and time, portals and dimensions, seen, unseen, known, unknown. And I want you to just breathe. And as you're breathing, I want you to give yourself permission to just surrender, because the flame itself does not destroy, it transforms. And then the flame is going to help remove protection mechanisms from the heart system. And then you're going to take one more nice deep breath in, cleansing breath, and you're going to just stomp into the fire. And this is going to send shock waves into your aligned path, letting the universe know that you are ready to take the steps on your aligned path with a place of empowerment, from a place of gratitude, and most importantly, from a place of non-fear. Because you are entering into a path of unknown territory that is powerful and magnificent, and you have the ability to create what your soul desires for you to create at a very successful level. And once you just take a nice deep breath in, a cleansing breath out, and there's going to be 3 crystalline energies that are going to come in to support you in aligning with this beautiful path. Turasa, Prosu, Trakatraha, Emerald, rose quartz, and green tourmaline. And when you're ready, you're going to step out of the flame, and you're going to jump into the body of water that is infused with crystalline energy. And it's going to act as an elixir for your soul. And it's going to bring in beautiful messages from your team, from your high vibrational team, which is creation, God, universe, and any of your masters, teachers, and loved ones that serve your highest good. Going to bring downloads in. And these downloads are going to be messages that you'll receive at a later date, and you might receive a message right here. And if you don't, that's okay. But I want you to just open your heart to receive. And there'll be a moment of silence while this downloads. And then when you're ready, you're going to take another nice deep breath in. Cleansing breath out. Feeling your energy drop back into your heart space. Another nice deep breath in. Cleansing breath out. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. Bowing your chin in towards your chest. Blinking your eyes open whenever you are ready.
Thank you so much, Amy. That was amazing. I really enjoyed that.
Awesome. Well, I wish you the best of luck with your book launch.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I know you're a big audiobook fan, so I will definitely let you know when that's ready.
Awesome.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah, you can go to the amyrobeson. That's TheAmyRO, B as in boy, E as in Edward, S as in Susan, ON.com. And if you put it in /free, we have 20 plus free healings on our website called Sacred Gifts. I have a weekly podcast that's called Awakening with Amy Robeson. So there's all sorts of different places you can find me. So thanks for having me.
Wonderful. Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. And I just really, really appreciate all that you do and for sharing it with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Did you enjoy this episode? You can now send me a text message and share your experience. Be sure to subscribe to make sure you never miss an episode. Head over to my YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button as well to be part of my growing community. Are you ready to take the next step in your spiritual journey? Don't miss out on the new Dream Empowerment programs. Unique opportunities for you to unlock your inner wisdom, discover your authenticity, align with your higher self, and bring abundance into your life. If you'd like your dream or awakening story featured on my show, submit it today. Your dreams have the power to inspire and enlighten other women on their journey. Visit meganmary.com to find out more.